Thank you again, my amazing partner forever, and love you so much. And so we also learned so many class strategy from Beth and Kelly. They gave me so many helpful ideas in the lesson one. So if you want to learn more, please join the next year's lesson, next year's program. Okay, so now is the time let me introduce you. The next group is Stella from Lisan School and Kennie from Darling School, and their club partner, Grace.
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Stella, and my topic is broadening your eyesight through cloud project. And my school is Lisan Junior High and Elementary School. And it is on the mountain. You can see those pictures are my school. And you can see a lot of fruit trees surrounding my school. And today I'll talk about backgrounds of my school and students. And second, I'll talk about teaching methods, and then for topics of cloud project and teacher inquiry. So for background of my school and students, my school is located in rural Taichung. And from Taichung City to Lisan, it spent about 4 hours by car. And we have indigenous students and immigrant students. They are very cute. And you can see I choose 5th grade for my cloud project. And they cannot get a lot of input of English. They just learn English in the class, but after class, they don't use English. And students' listening and speaking ability need to improve. For listening, a student need to listen more than twice, and then they can get the meaning. And for the speaking, students are willing to speak out English, but they cannot speak fluently. And those are 5 topics of cloud project. So Grace and I talk about a trip to Fred Meyer and a trip to Lisan. And we also talk about Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and sports. And here are some teaching methods that I use in the cloud project. We use gesture and TPR to teach students new words. It helps students to remember the new words. And then we use TPRS to tell a story. And when we tell a story, we use our body language. And students will get the meaning. And we use flip grip and a puzzle as the homework. And they improve students' listening and speaking ability. And now I will introduce a puzzle for you. Okay. So you type a puzzle on Google Chrome, and then you can get into it. And then I log in as a teacher. Okay, so it is a website called Puzzle, and it's free, so you can use it for free. And then you can create a class. And I'll show one of video that I am Grace Mac. So this one is shopping in Fred Meyer. Okay, so can you guys answer the question? Where is teacher Grace going? Yes, okay. So students can choose their answers here and then press continue.
Buy groceries. How do we go to it? We first get on the bus. That's it. Okay. Now we are in Fred Meyer, and I want to walk around and buy groceries. I'm going to get medicine because I'm getting sick.
Okay, so this question, what is teacher Grace going to buy? Medicine. Okay, yes. Okay. So you can upload your video, and then you can create your multiple choice test for the student. And students use the computer, and he or she can do this assignment. Yeah. Okay. So how to apply a puzzle in my lesson? I sign up and help students to create accounts. And then I make a video or find one fun app puzzle. And then after the cloud project, I spend one extra English class for students to finish their assignment in the computer classroom. Because in our school, some of students don't have computer in their home. So I do this assignment in the school. And when the students have finished their assignment, the teacher can see their score and the answers they gave. And next, I will talk about 4 topics that Grace and I taught in the class. For first one is a trip to Fred Meyer. Okay, so first we asked students what did they want to know about Birmingham, and they write on the whiteboard and tell teacher Grace. And then we do the Fred Meyer true or false. We show student picture and sentence. And students need to choose true or false. And then we use TPR as strategy to teach words. Grace will tell a story, and then student and I will do the gesture, use our body language, and such as medicine, honey, tea, and wash bags that we taught for students. And after the class, students need to do the app puzzle. And next one, I taught a trip to Lishan. So I show picture to students, and those pictures are sightseeing spot of Lishan. I want them to guess what sightseeing spot is that. And then I use TPR to teach phrases such as see the maple tree. Yes, I use TPR to teach student phrases. And then students play charades themselves. So there are 5 groups, 5 students in one group. And the first student can see the picture, and then he or she need to act out and pass to student 2, and then student 2 pass to student 3, and student 3 pass to student 4, and the last student should tell the answers. And in the end of the class, students need to finish the worksheet. And for the Halloween, teacher Grace introduced 3 kinds of candies, such as 3 Musketeers and Kit Kat and Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And we put those words in jazz chant, and we teach jazz chant to students. And we also have a fashion show. Students dress up and sing a song like trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. Yes. And then we taught Halloween vocabulary and slang. And for the Thanksgiving, students learn about Thanksgiving dishes and practice how to order food, and they did the role play. And we also let students to make their craft of turkey. And they learn the sentence, I am thankful for. So they'll make a sentence like, I'm thankful for teacher Grace, I'm thankful for my cell phone, or I'm thankful for my family. Yes. So we let students write the name of dishes or a sentence on the feathers of turkey. And we also use free grip to practice speaking. And for teacher inquiry, I try to speak more English in the class, and also focus on listening skill and cultural exchange, and use gesture or TPR to teach the vocabulary, and also use TPRS to have students listen to a paragraph, and use free grade to have students practice speaking. And yeah, so okay. Reflection, I think when teachers speak more English in the class, they should use a lot of body language or pictures to help students understand, and teachers should wait for students to guess the meaning. And compared to the beginning of the cloud project, the students pay more attention to what the teacher Grace say. Because at the beginning, they listen Grace say, and if they don't understand, they will give up. But when Grace comes to Taiwan, they pay more attention to what teacher Grace say, and their eyes were on her. Yes. Okay. So I think this is the end. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I'm Kennie from Broadening Elementary School. We have the same topic, so I'll just start. Relate to color and math. I think for my own goal is I want my students to speak up in a meaningful context. So this is what I learned in WWU, and the first is Beth. She told me class strategy, and also teacher Lori, and we have Debbie. That I learned from them. We teach English. We teach in English. Like we all remember, like we all can teach Korean kids like our election currency, and I especially like Lori's TBRS because she told me how to use like Musco, because I brought a Musco in Bellingham, and this is something that my kids love, and Grace named him Chuck. So every time when kids come to my class, they will just like, oh, where's Chuck? How's he today? And it works pretty well. And then it's the inquiry chart that I used most in my class. It helps teachers to know students' prior knowledge. And here is the poster that I usually will ask my students to predict. So when we have a topic like Halloween, I will just we talk to teacher Grace and we both ask students, and they will use the sticky note, put down what they know already, and if they have a question, they also put the question here. Each sticky notes has one question or one thing that they know, or one word. Yeah, so this is something I did. And collaboration is, when you do this, sometimes the students might help each other. For example, like teacher Grace, this is the lessons she taught in my school. Third graders, when she asked the students, what do you know about Christmas? So if the students don't have any idea, the teacher can start to ask, do you see Santas in Christmas? Oh, the student can remind, oh, Santa. All right, so the teacher Grace will write down Santa in the posters here. Yeah, this is the inquiry charts I used a lot in my class. And the second one is jazz chants. In the Halloween lessons, we create the jazz chant. Usually the rhyme is not trick or treat, give me something good to eat. But we also put the Halloween candies in the Halloween lessons. So here's a sentence that teacher Grace and I maybe create. We can exchange and put it inside this jazz chants. Here are candies and Kit Kats, all of my favorite candies today. So we also put cultures and use jazz chants that you remember. Okay, next one is, this is something that teacher Grace and I usually do. We usually put yes or no question. It can be with motivation. For example, we can let kids predict what we're going to teach today. For example, this is Americans celebrate Thanksgiving on the fourth Thursdays of every November. If this starts with this lesson, then students might know, oh, I don't know the answer. Maybe later I can learn from this lesson. Or I can put this in the end to double check if the students they have learned in this lesson. So I think it is probably quite useful to evaluate students what they've learned. And the Flipgrid is another tool that I learned in WWU. I think it helps students to really speak, and also they are less nervous. Usually I'll just bring the cell phone. I ask my students, oh, this is a great question. You can think about it, but if you're not comfortable about a question, you're not so sure about a question, you can ask me. Sometimes I also encourage them to write down. And then if they feel good, and then they can bring their notes and also my cell phone, and they can go to the one room, and I'll go away and let them record what they want to say. So usually it's I coordinate to the inquiry chart. They have to say something they learned from class, and they also can say something they want to ask teacher Grace about the lessons. So this is something that I tried. And the reflections, I think during this journey, I think sharing is very important, especially cultural exchange. So most of the time, I want my students to share things. We teach Halloween, teacher Grace teaches us Halloween. I want my students to teach Ghost Month. So it's we can even exchange ideas. So I think sharing is caring, caring is learning, and learning is giving. So I think during this process, we learn a lot by cultural exchange, geography, Halloween, Ghost Month, and Thanksgiving meal. Something important is Thanksgiving Actually, our school do have Thanksgiving events. That's a pretty big event every year. So like we also like share food, Taiwanese food, American food to contrast. And I like about this year because Christmas, usually we would just think about like Santa or sing just song. But I think Teacher Grace brought a very good topic about Christmas, it's the snow. So we also create like snowflake to kids. So this is very interesting. So the reflection also, like I think during this cloud project, the students try to work together pretty well. I want my students to start to work with each other. It's not about like just I study there and then listen teacher and just copy what they say. And the collaboration starts maybe from teacher to teacher. This is Teacher Grace, this is Stella, and this is me. I think this is the first time we did Zoom and help each other to prepare lessons. So I put this photos on. And teachers to teachers, like we can also collaborate with our like colleagues in the school. And students will help students, and it comes like a good learning environment. Courage and confidence, I think during this cloud project, they like to learn by sharing. For example, they will prepare their Halloween costume for Teacher Grace. And this is the whole school event that I've tried first, use the big screen to let everybody like participate Teacher Grace class. Okay, so I think they will start to, they're willing to speak more English in this kind of positive, comfortable language environment. And I think the thing is you have to try to use what you have learned. Too many things, but the thing is you have to at least try one or two. So right now, I think the best things I try is I use English almost as best as possible. And when Grace come, I even tried my first grader to fourth grader. Because my students for cloud project is fifth and sixth grader. And I found out that it's possible to use English all the time if you try to use some strategy. Like my class, you have to trade your meaning in English. Like we teach movie this word in first grader, like at least maybe more than 10 minutes, I guess. Because first grader probably they have like less knowledge about movie. And the thing is, it's very hard, so you have to keep telling them, you have to act out, you have to use so many things. And I like this way that I got a hierarchy of questioning. You start to ask students yes or no. As, for example, like Grace here, she shows her photos when she was little, and I will just ask students, I would point to Teacher Grace's photo, so is this a Christmas tree? The students start saying no, then I found out they know the answer. Okay, so this is my students, 23, and this is my Hakka village. Okay, my target students is here. Actually it's 4, but sometimes Zoe, I wish her to come in, yeah. And my concern, I want to develop this 4C, and I also want to provide more opportunity for them to listen and not afraid of making mistakes and willing to participate more, collaborative team works. So my research questions is based on speaking ability and motivation. So these are the tools that I use. So resorts. So I think they're willing to ask more questions because they're curious about Teacher Grace or something they don't know. And that's fear of speaking English and produce more sentence and help each other to comprehend. And I hope this will continue to love to learn from these cloud lessons. At last, I want to dedicate this. I highlight this because Teacher Grace even more scary because she went to our school, she saw the big spider in our school. So I think it's like teaching is like family, you're sharing things. So this video I want to dedicate to my cloud partners, Stella and Grace. So I hope you like it, and to those teachers who want to keep learning and searching for your own teaching. So this is my video. This is the first song Teacher Grace learned in Chinese. Can I finish it? I made this for a long time. My student doesn't know elf, so Teacher Grace is trying to help them.
Okay, let's repeat, go. 1, 2, no.
They can speak Chinese in class too, but they have to change. This is my first graders. They teach Teacher Grace dance Santa Shop.
Oh, nice. Mickey, change.
This is their performance too, on the biggest Thanksgiving event.
Direction.
And they want to show Teacher Grace their performance.
Different side.
Teacher Grace learning Chinese. Nice to meet you.
One, two, three.
Yeah, thank you. that spider was like the size of the spider that you would see in Australia, and I had to like leave the bridge. It was horrible. I was Kennie and Stella's teaching partner, and I got so excited teaching all week long, I lost my voice. So, good thing I have a microphone. I first went to Lishan. As Stella described, there were 11 students, they were 5th graders, and none of them attended cram school. The primary materials that we used were PowerPoint, worksheets, craft activities, and then we did also use Edpuzzle, and we used Flipgrid, and I still have to respond to their Flipgrid. And then I included what worked and what was difficult. What worked was the students were very excited for the Zoom lessons. I know that they were very excited for the Zoom lessons because sometimes we had to try to quiet them down. So we would give the lesson and then we would pause the lesson because they were very excited. One thing that I found difficult, and it could be because I'm a beginning teacher, was the class size. The class size with Stella was a lot bigger than the class size with Kennie, and so I found it difficult to get match student name to face. And what I like in my lessons is for it to be more personal. And so I felt bad that I couldn't personally call on the student because I couldn't see their face. And then also class wrap up, time constraints with the bigger class. It's harder to do classroom management, especially when you're on a computer screen. And then to do wrap up activities like Flipgrid, when you have more students, that takes more time. And it takes more time to instruct on as well as to respond to them. And then there's some pictures. So this was actually at Pingdon Elementary School. I went to Pingdon as well as Lishan while I was here. So I was here, I taught at 2 schools, but online I taught at Lishan. And I loved these students, they were so cute. This was my classroom in Lishan. And those 2 girls on the side have my heart, they're so cute. When I went to Dalian, I was with one 5th grader, and she does not attend cram school. Zoe, the 5th grader, was one of the very first lessons. She was the 2 first lessons that I did before the summer workshops. And then the 4th, 6th graders were the students that I was with since September, and then 2 of them attend cram school currently, and 1 has attended cram school from kindergarten to 5th grade. And the primary materials that we used in Kennie's class were inquiry charts, Flipgrid for wrap-up, and PowerPoint. And then what worked with Dalvin, I found, was the smaller class sizes. It felt a lot more personal. And then a roundtable teaching style, that felt to me a lot more like a college lecture, seminar, which is what I'm used to. And so I liked being able to do that with younger kids. What was difficult was confidence about speaking English. I knew that the students knew what I was saying. I could tell from the way they giggled, but they were shy to speak in front of me. And then this is us. Mini. Okay. From this project, I just wanted to include how I grew as a teacher, because 2 years ago I did a study abroad in Querétaro, Mexico, with Beth and Caleb, and that's where I finished my TESOL certification. And I was really on the fence about, do I want to teach English? Is teaching really, am I a teacher? And I found that from there so from Querétaro to Taiwan, I grew as a teacher because I definitely learned the difference between lesson planning and material prepping. And lesson planning is not as difficult as I thought it was. It's material prepping. And once you learn that, I feel like teaching becomes a lot easier and less intimidating. And then also teaching kids versus teaching adults. I learned how to teach English by teaching adults, but I love teaching kids. So, and then how I grew as a person from this project. I think I grew as a person because I grew as a teacher, and I grew as a teacher because I grew as a person.
because my identity as a teacher, or one possible identity as a teacher, I kind of figured it out, I guess we'll say. And once you figure something out like that, you as a person, like, you're more rich for that. And then the more confident you are as a person, the better teacher you are, and the more you can bring to the classroom. And I think that I am a better, more well-rounded person for seeing and experiencing the things that I did in Lishan and in Dalian. For example, riding a gondola that is originally supposed to transport fruit, that really transports a student to and from school every single day. Never in my life did I think I would see that. And then lasting impacts. I love Taiwan. Taiwan is amazing. And of course, we're very, very focused on the teaching aspect here. But I think Kennie also brings a really important point that, like, the cultural exchange is, like, inherent in this, and I think it's necessary to talk about. I feel very at home here in Taiwan, and I think Taiwanese people are very welcoming and accommodating and always willing to help. And from being here and from teaching in the schools and from comparing the schools here to, like, my own elementary school experience, I'm reminded again that we're not as different as I think we are. So that's what I got from the Cloud Project and from teaching with my awesome cloud partners, Kennie and Stella, and their students.